Alright, here we are, another day in the shop. I have upgraded the carb, and this carburetor is set for a primer. And I already had the kit, but right now I still have the old choke set up, which is working perfectly fine with the old carb, but I'm going to go ahead and replace that and install the little primer kit for the single carb. Now, whenever you have a like a carb kit, it's going to come with a few parts. Right here is obviously the original one with the old choke flap and everything, but the kit will typically come with the fitting for the 3/8 line and then for the little smaller fuel line for the primer. As you can see, a little primer kit, and it can go right back in the original spot that the choke is in. I think the only difference is we have to make a little bit bigger of a hole, but we'll figure that here in just a second. And it also comes with these two brass fittings. Well, that's brass. This one right here on this side, that one just plugs on one side where the choke flap is, and then the other one's got the barb where you run to there. So essentially you would end up on the factory carb, you'd obviously take all the contraption off right here, the little lever and the spring and all that off, and then you'll take your choke flap on the inside loose with the two screws, and this will should slide right on out. You may have to tap it and everything, you know, once you've taken the nut and everything off. Should be able to tap it right on through and get it out. And then once you got it out, obviously, one side or the other, you can decide which one you want to. You can block off this side, which would probably be the smartest thing, blocking off this side, because the way the carb sits in there, this side kind of goes toward the back of the hole, which would be in the direction you could run the line toward the choke. If you're putting not the choke now, if you put the primer where the choke lever was. So that would be my suggestion if you're going to do it on a single carb setup. So let's get all this, the original choke taken loose, and pop this stuff in. Alright, so since I've already got the cable broke loose from the original carb and all that, this is got where I've got enough slack where I can pull it out and get to the little set screw. I don't know if y'all can see it. There's a little tiny set screw that keeps the knob on the shaft. Mine is a Phillips head. I would assume that they're all the same. I could be wrong, but that's what we got. So once you get all the way out, don't lose that if you ever want to sell it or reuse it. So I'm going to take this off of here, and I may have to get some pliers for the rest of that. Didn't take much. Got that broke loose. There we go. If this is your very first time doing something like this, which if you've looked up this video, it probably is, or you're just bored and want to watch these stupid videos that I make, but on this setup right here, you got an in and an out, and the easiest way to figure that out, I mean, I guess you could hold up your face and try to feel which one is blowing, but you can just plug one. You can hear that little squeak noise. Lets a little air out. So watch this. When I pull, you hear that? That will let you know when I'm pulling out, it's the one that's sucking in. So this should be the one pushing out. So you're going to come off the fuel line where you have the barb and the two 3/8 barbs. You're going to come off of, you know, the fuel line going to the carb. You'll put this in line essentially, and then this one you're going to go to the end, which is this one, and then come out of here to wherever you put the barb in the carburetor where the choke originally was. And that's about all it is. You just kind of pump some fuel in there and crank it right up. Here's one of the things I do. I'll just take the nut that's on the primer, take it off, because then they can give you an idea of how big of a hole you need, and you can try to center it up with the original and then just kind of mark it. And that kind of gives you an idea, you know, every bit of that you can get rid of, and then just work it on out to where it slides right in there. Now we got this somewhat cleaned up. We'll do the end on top, out on the bottom. Alright, I got the primer installed now. You can see on the back side. So what I'm looking at doing is I'm going to cut like right here and install the little barb and everything, and then there's the little barb where it goes into the carb. So that's where I'm going to cut this, install that. So let's get it done. And then figure out what length I want. Pretty much everything is done now. I did kind of redirect this. I got to thinking, since I added this head on here, this sticks out a little more, and this part right here has been hitting on, as you can see right there. And this line was kind of over here a little more, so I'm hoping that that's not going to be an issue. I'm going to test that here in a minute, and I still got to zip tie all the fuel lines onto the carb and stuff like that. But I'm going to give it a little test hit and see if she fires up, because it's different carb and everything. I have not tried. Alright, here we go. Prime that a couple good pumps. We'll see how it does. Yep. Seems like everything's working. You can see how got the two the primers are right there. Got them ran, like I said, in and one in right there. You can see how it turned out. Pretty much the exact same setup as the choke. It may stick out just a tad more, but I don't think it sticks out enough to even really tell. So hope y'all enjoyed it, and hope that helps y'all figure out how to do this, or realize how simple it is installing a primer on one of these. But we'll see y'all again next time. Here's the original carb from the blaster. Pretty rough. Here's all the pieces. I ended up having to cut the choke flap, the main bar. I had to cut it because the screws broke off to where I couldn't slide it all the way through. You can see how they stick through on that one side. So I ended up having to cut that to get them all the way out. You know, they once you get if the screws come out just fine, you'll have these perfect, you know, clean holes. I want to clean them just a little bit, get some of that trash and grit out of there. Once you've done that, that's when you would use the brass block off from one side. Like I said, I'm going to block off the side that has the fuel lines coming off of it, because it's going to be easier to run the line straight out here toward where my choke is on the jet ski. Once you beat that in, the side you're blocking off, and beat that in the other side, hook it up to that line that you've got ran from the pump, the primer, and that gets you fixed up.